Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about... What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new, then thank you so much for watching. But please be sure to check out my previous videos, which I will have linked down below. As you can see by the title of this video, today we are on to a very steamy topic. But I thought, in light of the back to school season and for those of us going back to university, it would be the perfect time and opportunity to speak a little bit about consent. The reason that I thought that it would be very important to talk about this is because in university spaces we're not really taught about consent. We're just told this is the floor that you can find the condoms on. If you guys want to do your business, then cool. What is consent? Consent is pretty simple, and I'm going to contextualize it into our situation right now of what we're talking about. In this scenario, consent is the agreement to engage in sexual activities with someone. Consent is not just limited to the females. Males can give consent too. In fact, males should give consent too. Sexual activities are generally not a one-party thing, and giving consent is important for both partners. Consent and asking for consent are all about setting boundaries and respecting those of your partners. So before being sexual with someone, you need to know if they want to be sexual with you too. And that's where consent comes in. A lot of times in relationships, people just assume that there are certain roles that you need to play as a girlfriend, as a boyfriend, as a wife, and as a husband. That should not be the precedent. It shouldn't be justifiable to violate someone just because they are your partner. In fact, that is when consent is rarely given. Even in those types of relationships, you still need to set boundaries for yourself and for your partner, and those boundaries should be respected by all parties involved in the relationship. Both people must agree to engage in sexual activities for the sexual activities to be consensual. Not a difficult concept to understand, right? Well, that's what I'm here for. Today I will be breaking down the 5 key points of consent. So these are the 5 things that we will be discussing. The 5 basics of consent. Consent is freely given, it is reversible, it is informed, it is enthusiastic, and it is specific. You have the final say over what happens to your body. It doesn't matter if the partner is your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It doesn't matter if you are married or not. It doesn't matter if you've hooked up before. What's important is that every single time you engage with someone, you give consent. So let's delve deeper. Consent is freely given. It is a personal choice that you make. It is not something that can be coerced, manipulated, or forced out of you. It is not something to be given under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and it cannot be attained if someone is sleeping or otherwise unconscious. It's reversible. Anyone can change their mind about what they want to do and what they don't want to do at any time. It doesn't matter when or where in the act you are. If you say no, it means no. If you said yes earlier and you changed your mind, that's okay. That's allowed. No one can pressure you into doing things that you do not want to do and that you are not comfortable doing. Consent is informed. By this I mean you can only give consent if you have the full story. If you agree to have sex with a condom and your partner does something called stealthing, which is removing the condom mid-sex, your consent has immediately been withdrawn. That is no longer a consensual act. That is sexual assault. Consent is enthusiastic, it is specific. If you don't hear a resounding yes from your partner, that act is not consensual. I've already touched on this, but it's something that needs to be said as its own point. Consent is specific. If your partner has not said, I want to engage in XYZ with you, when they were not drunk, when they were not high on drugs, when they were not manipulated or forced into saying it, then you do not have consent. If you have agreed to make out with someone, that is what you have agreed to do. They cannot force you or manipulate you into doing more than what you have agreed to do. If they do that, that is sexual assault. Plain and simple. Black and white, no gray area. Consent is not just important the first time. It's important to obtain every single time. Even if you've been with this partner before, even if this person is your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife. They have the right to give or take away consent. It is their body, it is their choice. There are laws about who can consent and who cannot consent. In different places in the world, these laws are different. So I'll just give you the South African perspective. In South Africa, the age of consent is 16. A person under the age of 16 cannot give consent. A person between the ages of 16 and 18 cannot consent to sex with someone older than 18. A person engaging in sex with people under than 18, that is themselves older than 18, is committing a crime. If you are 16, 17, or 18, you can consent to have sex with someone who is 16, 17, or 18. If you look up the laws on consent in South Africa, you may get a little bit confused. Back when I was in high school, there was a very controversial decision made to decriminalize sex for minors under the age of 16, specifically for those between the ages of 11 and 15. This does not mean that those children can give consent. They cannot give consent. What this means is that if they do engage in sexual activities, and if they are caught engaging in these sexual activities, they cannot be tried for it. They cannot register as sexual offenders, and this will not go on their records. However, if of the two parties, one is over the age of 16, the legal age of consent, that person can be charged with statutory rape. Those of you going to university, or who are at the legal age to give consent, please educate yourself on what consent is. Consent is never implied. Sexual consent is always clearly communicated. There should be no gray areas. Silence is not consent. Hesitation is not consent. So that brings us to the end of our video. If you would like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below. Follow me on social media so you can see when next I will be uploading. All the links will be in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.